Good morning, students. Today we are starting the second chapter of our second unit, and the chapter is molecular basis of inheritance. Till now we have discussed the first chapter, that is principles of inheritance and variation. And in that chapter we saw that Mendel was talking about factors, and later on we found that the chromosomes are carrying genes and these are controlling all the characters. Now when further studies were done, then the different scientists, they find out that basically DNA is acting as a genetic material and it is getting transferred from one generation to next generation. That's why we are in this second chapter, molecular basis of inheritance, we are going to study in detail about the genetic material, that is DNA, the structure of DNA, the different components that are present in DNA, how DNA copying is there, replication of DNA takes place, how this DNA is transcribed into RNA, and later on how this RNA is going to form the proteins. Means complete structure and function of genetic material. So today we are going to just give a brief introduction of this chapter. When we say genetic material, what should a genetic material be? Genetic material simply means that it should have all the biological information in coded form. The first thing about genetic material is that biological information should be present in coded form. And what is this coded form? We know 4 nitrogenous bases are there. We are going to discuss about these nitrogenous bases also. So the first thing about genetic material is that it should have all the biological information in coded form. The second thing is it should transfer it to the next generation. So transfer from one generation to next generation. And third thing to define a genetic material is it should express itself in the next generation. So expression should take place. This is the complete definition of genetic material. A genetic material should contain all the biological information in coded form and it should be transferred to next generation and it will express itself in the next generation. This is how the genetic material should be. Now if we talk about the genetic material that is present on the earth, 2 types of genetic materials are present on the surface of earth, and these genetic materials are nucleic acids. So 2 types of nucleic acids are there. One is DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid, and second one is RNA, ribonucleic acid. In majority of the organisms, in most of the organisms present on Earth's surface, DNA is acting as the genetic material. While in few organisms like viruses, RNA viruses, they are having RNA as their genetic material. So our most important genetic material that is present in most of the organisms is DNA, and we will talk about DNA. How scientists find out that DNA is the genetic material? Because earlier we were not known that the genetic material is DNA. Scientists did lots of work, different experiments, and at last they came at conclusion that DNA is acting as a genetic material and it is fulfilling all the characteristics that a genetic material should have. So let's see what a different type of characteristics a genetic material should have. First thing, genetic material should be present in all the somatic cells of the body. Present in all somatic cells of body. Second thing about genetic material is that it should be present in same number in all the cells. The number should not vary in each cell. It should be equivalent in all the cells. Third thing is genetic material should show some of the variations, because we know variations are leading to diversity. So variation should be shown. Should be shown by the genetic material. Fourth thing about genetic material is it should be transferred from one generation to next generation, or we can say it should be transferred to the offsprings. To the offsprings. Another thing is that transfer is only possible, equal amount of DNA is transferred, that is only possible when DNA copying is taking place, or so genetic material must form its copies. So copying of genetic material should take place. It should be able to show its copy. The next thing is it should have all the information in coded form. So all information, all biological information in coded form. These are some of the characteristics of genetic material. Another characteristic can be it should have different combinations in, we can say, in different species different genetic material is there, means the amount of DNA is present differently in different species, so that is again creating diversity. So all these characteristics a genetic material should have. When scientists come to know about the characteristics of genetic material, then they were working to find out that which of the component is showing all these characteristics. Means now they were confirming that which component of the cell is acting as a genetic material. So there was lots of experiments that was confirming that DNA is the genetic material. While working on this thing, DNA is present in all the somatic cells, plus equal amount of DNA is present in all the somatic cells. So all the characteristics were completely fulfilled by DNA. Now different experiments were done for the proof, to get the proof that DNA is acting as the genetic material. The first successful experiment that was done to prove this was done by Griffith, and name of the experiment of Griffith is transformation. So we are going to discuss Griffith's transformation experiment. Griffith worked in 1928, and what he did, he was working on a bacteria Streptococcus pneumonia. This is a bacteria that is causing pneumonia in mammals. In human beings also pneumonia is caused by Streptococcus pneumonia. So you can say work agent of Griffith's experiment was Streptococcus pneumonia. Now Griffith selected two strains of Streptococcus pneumonia. The first strain was a smooth strain. Why we are saying a smooth strain? Because that is having a polysaccharide capsule. That is giving a smooth appearance. So outside, the outer structure is having a polysaccharide capsule, plus this strain was virulent. Virulent means having the ability to cause disease. So Griffith was working on two strains of Streptococcus pneumonia. The first strain is smooth strain. He called it as S strain. That was smooth and that was the virulent one, means that was causing the disease pneumonia. The second strain was rough strain. It was missing the polysaccharide capsule and this strain was non-virulent. You can write as R strain. So these were the two strains of Streptococcus pneumonia that were used by Griffith. Now Griffith one by one injected these strains in mice and different effects were shown by mice. Let's talk what happened when mice was injected with these strains. When mice was firstly injected with the normal S strain, then what happened? Because S was the virulent one, so mice developed the disease. The symptoms of pneumonia appeared in mice and mice died. Death of mice was there because of pneumonia. When a normal R strain was injected by Griffith, that was the non-virulent strain, no effect was on mice because R is not responsible for the causing of the disease. Third, what Griffith did, he injected heat-killed S strain. So firstly he killed the strain in heat and then injected in the body of mice. So heat killed S strain. When this was injected in the body of the mice, then also there was no effect on mice because no disease was there. And lastly what he did a combination. He injected a combination of heat killed S strain plus a normal R strain. And what he saw was mice died because of pneumonia. Symptoms appeared in mice and death of mice was there. The combination that was responsible was heat killed S strain and normal R strain. When individually heat killed S strain was injected in mice, there was no effect on the mice, and when individually normal R strain was injected, then also there was no effect of mice on mice. But when both were added simultaneously, then what happened? Death of mice took place. And when they extracted out the strain from the mice, they found that living S strain was present in the body of the mice, and because of this S strain pneumonia appeared and death of mice was there. That means there is transformation of some substance from this heat killed S strain into R strain, and this changed it into S strain. This was the conclusion of Griffith, that some substance has transferred from this heat killed S strain that was not killed because of heat, and it entered into the R strain, and because of this transmission into the R strain, this R strain has converted into S strain, and S strain is responsible for pneumonia. So pneumonia like symptoms appeared in the mice and death of mice was there. But Griffith here did not able to find out that two problems were there in front of Griffith, that what is the role of mice? In this whole process, what was the role of mice body? And second thing was that what actually was the transforming substance that had converted a normal strain into a virulent strain. So the transformation substance was not known. That there are lots of substances that are present in the cell. It could be a protein, a carbohydrate, or DNA. Out of these, what is actually responsible for this transformation? Now, when this S strain was taken from the infected mice and it was grown artificially on a medium, then all the next strains that were coming from here were also S strain. Means now this was growing continuously in which type of strain? S strain. That means this transformation, the change that has taken place, this transformation is inheritable change, because it is inheriting continuously. This strain is dividing, and when it is dividing, then the next strains are also of S type. That means the change is inheritable and it is a permanent change. Now this strain has permanently changed into S strain. So let's again revise the experiment of Griffith. What Griffith did? So Griffith did took two strains of Streptococcus pneumonia, injected them individually into the mice. The S strain was responsible for the death of the mice, and normal R strain was having no effect on the mice. When this heat killed S strain was injected, then also there was no effect on the mice. But when heat killed S strain and R strain were injected, then Griffith observed that symptoms appeared and death of mice was there. He concluded that there was some substance that was present in the S strain, and this substance transformed that R strain into S strain, and this new strain that is formed, that is the S1, is responsible for the symptoms of pneumonia. And when he extracted out this S strain from that mice and grown on an artificial medium, then also all the next strains that were coming from them were also of S type. That means transformation has taken place, and this transformation is permanent and it is inheritable. When he worked on mice also, then he found that there was no role of mice in this transformation experiment. Later on, three scientists worked on Griffith experiment. In 1944, Avery, MacLeod and McCarthy. What they did, they extracted different components from the mice. They extracted carbohydrates of heat killed S strain, they extracted protein again of heat killed X strain and DNA. So they extracted out individual components and then they tried to transform the R strain, and they were basically observing that out of these three components, which is responsible for the transformation of a R strain into the S strain. So in nutrient broth, they were having R strains, all were having R strains, and a fourth one was there. In this first case, he added carbohydrate extract of S strain, a heat killed S strain, and they found that after adding the carbohydrate extract, there was no transformation, no change in the R strain. In second case, they added protein extract of S strain, and again they find out that there is no change in the R strain. Third, they added DNA extract of S strain, and here they saw that this R strain has changed into S strain, smooth strain. So that was showing that DNA is that transforming agent that is coming from the heat killed S strain, and it is transforming a R strain into S strain. When we are heat killing a S strain, DNA is not getting damaged. It is still integrated and it is responsible for the transformation. To show that, we here in fourth we did DNA extract was there from the S strain plus deoxyribonuclease. Nucleases were used. Deoxyribonucleases means they are able to degrade the DNA. So when deoxyribonucleases were used, they will break down the DNA. Then they saw that this R strain is not transformed into S strain. Reason, because DNA has already been degraded. So there is now no DNA present, and the R strain still now remains the R strain. No transformation has occurred. So from this experiment, Avery, McLeod and McCarty confirmed that transformation is taking place, and transformation is because of DNA. So DNA is the genetic material that is transforming one strain of bacteria into another strain. So from all these experiments, we can define transformation now. Now what transformation means? It means there is permanent inheritable change because of transforming substance, and now we know that is DNA from one bacteria into another one, making it smooth or virulent strain. So this was the first experiment that was in favor of proving that DNA is acting as a genetic material. In next class, we will discuss about the experiment of Hershey and Chase.